Hello, folks. It's me again, Susan Wright, Rick Perry supporter. I wanted to address the Trump thing. Um, I think it's gone on too long. I think Perry has said all he needs to say to Mr. Trump about Mr. Trump. What's going on right now is the media. It's all about reality TV. To the media, I don't care what sort of serious news organization they claim to be. They're all slightly better than pro wrestling. Let's be honest. They want to keep things mixed up. They don't care about policy. I don't care what they say or how serious the news program is supposed to be. They couldn't care less about policy. They couldn't care less about what a candidate can bring to the table. I mean, they'll give it a little lip service. They'll sort of toss around some light questions, brush over a few things. But what has happened with Trump being in the race? The man, if anybody was vetting him, first off, his record did not begin the day he announced his campaign. He's got a record that's before that. And good rule of thumb, if you want to predict future behavior, look at past behavior. And Trump's past is full of very far left leaning nightmares. Eminent domain, anyone? Where the government can come in and snatch a private citizen's property for their own gain and purpose. Yeah, Trump tried to use that. Abortion, he says he doesn't like it, but he's for it. Single payer health care, Obamacare. Obama's big on, Trump's big on that. Oh, gun grabbing. He thinks there should be limits on who owns guns. Uh, for you evangelicals out there like myself who have an issue with having somebody in office who just sort of, I don't need God. Yeah, Trump is that guy. Trump is that guy. So if you're a conservative and you're backing Trump, you really need to question yourself. You need to question where you stand. Trump is not a conservative. He's a rhino at the very least. At the most, he's a Democrat who just happens to have an R behind his name right now. Um, he could be. I mean, he's changed his party 5 times since he was in his 30s when he should have been old enough to know where he stood on things. But I digress. The thing with Perry, he opened up, Trump did, opened up his campaign insulting Perry as well as others. So he's not innocent. Don't get mad if Perry stands up and says, "This is what I believe. This is where he's wrong." He's just being a man about it and expressing himself, and he's doing so well. But more than that, what I said about if you want to predict future behavior, look at past behavior. Perry has a long record of standing up for conservative principles, pro life, pro military. He has busted his rump on that border no matter what Trump says. Trump, who visited the border weeks after talking about it and didn't really visit the border, he just sort of stood on the landing strip and talked about the border in his golfing pants and his jacket and looking ridiculous with that muskrat on his head. Perry has experience on the border. He has experience running a big economy. Sure, I mean, Trump's a great businessman. We can't take that away from him. He's a great businessman, and he's done well. If you overlook those 4 bankruptcies, but he's done well. But he hasn't run a government. Perry has. He's run a state government. He's run the 12th largest economy in the world. He has made Texas a booming economy. He has done well. He knows how to make things work in government. Trump, from all I've seen, is a lot of brushing over the issues. He sort of tosses red meat out there, doesn't really say a lot, says, I'm going to do this, doesn't say how. Obamacare, for instance, the thing that he supported before he didn't support it. What he's saying now is he'd replace it with something terrific. And I'm all for something terrific. I just want to know what that something terrific is. Could you give us a hint, maybe? Every other candidate has a policy that they stand on. You go to any other candidate's campaign page, you will find an issues page included on their site, and it spells out where they stand on the issues. Trump has 3 or 4 pages bragging on his TV show and his money and his blah, blah, blah. He's got a donations page, which kind of blows that whole he'll pay for his own campaign thing out of the water, but no page on the issues. Why? Because he hasn't made up his mind where he stands yet. And that should freak people out. It freaks me out that so many people are claiming to be conservative, but they will back a man with far left ideology in his background, a man who does not humble himself before God, and all he does as a campaign strategy is call everybody stupid, weak, dumb, blah, blah, blah. And then everybody gets mad when people say something back to him. I don't know about you, but if somebody's going to slam me, I'm going to say something back. That being said, Governor Perry, if you're watching, if you see this, you've said enough, and you were right. Across the board, you were right. But you've got a solid background. Your experience, your record is unmatched by anybody on that stage, including Trump. Run on that. When these clowns in the media, whether it be Fox News or anybody else, want to veer you off message and have you talk about, oh, what about Trump? What's he said lately? What do you say to him? No. No. Just say very politely, as you always do. So, he said what he said. He is who he is, but I am who I am, and I have a record. And could we please focus on issues, because I have ideas, and that's what the public needs. That's what the public needs to hear and deserves to hear. We don't need to hear the back and forth, the childish mess that Trump has created. Trump is a short timer. He's not in it for the long haul. He's in it for self-promotion. It's what he does. But you are a serious, legitimate candidate. You have a record unmatched. Run on that. Forget Trump. He's going to be back in the background, still running his mouth long after he's decided to drop out of race. He's already running from debates because he knows once he gets up there beside legitimate candidates and he's forced to actually talk about his ideas, he's lost. He's done. The rubber meets the road when the debates come. Okay? The rubber meets the road. Concentrate on that. Concentrate on getting your message out there. People need to hear it. We deserve to hear it. I know your record because I've made a point to know your record, but so many people don't know your record, and they need to concentrate on that. Here's a question. If you're still supporting Trump after all we know, after his support of amnesty and everything else that is against conservatives, have you woken up yet and looked yourself in the mirror and said, I'm a liberal? Because if you're backing Trump without vetting him, or if you vetted him at all and you've made excuses for him, you are a liberal. Change over to the other side before the election, because if you're voting for him, you're voting for a far left liberal. Me, I'm going to vote for the principled, proven Republican conservative. Thank you very much.